Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as it's another bot author recommended replay. And we have got a very fun to watch chaotic bot. It is Mulebot. Mulebot, known for a wide variety of builds, having just creating chaos in the game basically, and seeing what sticks. Now, taking on Mulebot is an unapologetic cheeser. It is Mike. I actually just had the pleasure of watching Mike play in the other half of the ProBots wildcard qualifier, so if you guys haven't watched that yet, and you plan on it, cover your ears for the next 20 seconds. I don't know, but yeah, Mike was very fun to watch in that. And yeah, I don't really have too much to say about it other than that it was just neat to see these sort of bots that we don't get to see as often play in these tournaments. That's the beauty of these bots. You can program a bot and it pretty much immediately goes to work battling the other ones. So it's quite a fun process to sort of troubleshoot and watch your bot improve as you make changes. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this cheesy game, make sure to go ahead and click that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot matches. Maybe since it's a Mulebot game, more mules in the comments down below. And yeah, subscribe if you haven't already. We have Mike coming on up. It does say that the wall's complete, which is its own wall. Very notable that going for a high ground wall for yourself, if you're a cheeser, can be just as important, as sometimes there's counter cheese. Now, we do have Mulebot sending out an SCV. It's not aware that it's being cheesed. It does have 2 Marines on the low ground, but Mulebot's going to be having to take on a lot of Marauders here, and this is what Mike does very well. It's got a well-refined Marauder build, and the fact that this command center is building on the low ground is going to cause problems. The Marauder immediately begins kiting this one Marine. It eats like a bullet from the Marine, and then it just sort of hunkers down for a second. These units see each other as they're staring at each other. I believe Mike just waiting for the other Marauders. For now, though, Mulebot is in a lot of trouble. It saw the Marauder, but it hasn't reacted. And Mike is saying it's time to go, go, go. The Marine gets picked off right away. Mulebot is producing 2 more Marines, but this command center is forfeit. The Marines are going to run down. They themselves are forfeit. We do have a counter cheese potentially happening as a fusion core is on the way for Mulebot, but as an avid battle cruiser builder, you tend to die a lot prior to a BC getting out. So yeah, this is looking quite concerning here for Mulebot. Mulebot actually just says, you know what, I'm leaving home. It packs up all its bags and floats its command center away. I'm not sure if the fusion core is actually going to finish up though, and there's not enough gas for a battle cruiser. This is incredibly problematic here for Mulebot. But who knows, maybe Mike won't be able to find this base. Will the SCVs transfer to the new base? No, they do not. They're just chilling. So Mulebot really isn't doing too much. There we go. We are getting an SCV transfer, a little bit delayed. And the SCVs are just running, looking for a better location to move to. However, it looks like this Marauder might actually find that base. Another SCV running the other way. Will it save the team? It doesn't, as the command center has been seen. That's because Mike is building a starport just south of it, which is very unfortunate for Mulebot. And I think we have witnessed a successful proxy. Now, one of the cool things about Mike is that it does have a follow-up. It's not just Marauders. It does build a starport to deal with eventual air units. It's got a command center on the way behind this. And yeah, quite a solid, cheesy bot. But this is going to be a multi-part video, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere. The only thing I really noticed about Mike in this game was that sometimes the Marauders seem to pause and not shoot. like we saw on the ramp for a moment there when there was the scan on the high ground. The Marauders were just sitting, not shooting the depots or anything like that. Other than that, nothing else to really point out. This command center will begin burning down, and so there shall be no escape for Mulebot. Oh, I forgot. It's got the starport on the other side of the map. Mulebot is building a singular Viking to try and win this game. That would be something if it was able to win. In fact, the Viking's just asleep, and so we wait for the cleanup. Lifting off the starport. There it is. GG. All right, so here we have our second game of the day. It's going to be Sharkbot taking on Mulebot. I did that backwards, but we got Sharkbot, we got Mulebot. Bit of a couple of cheesy bots here. Mulebot may have been out-cheesed in the previous game just because battle cruisers arrive slower than Marauders, but that doesn't make itself any less cheesy. It just lost the draw, basically, on that one. Now, Sharkbot is a very fun-to-watch Protoss bot. It's such an enigma because it's got this phenomenal late-game play, but then it's got a wide variety of sort of early-game chaotic strategies. And we'll just see how it's going to do against Mulebot. Mulebot didn't let us know what its strategy is. However, there is a Rax building in the middle of the map, so this is just the cycle of violence, guys. Mulebot gets proxied and dies, and now it's going to be proxying Sharkbot. And yes, we'll see whether Sharkbot is going to scout. Some bots do scout, some bots don't. As the blue Protoss is sending out a probe, it will be very important to see whether this scouts or not. So far, though, looks like it will just be a Nexus. Mulebot, meanwhile, is going for a gas behind these two racks. And that basically means that there's probably going to be Marauders. You never know with Mulebot, though, because there can always be a factory, a starport, anything. It is a just crazy bot. The probe for Sharkbot is moving out, going for a scout, very delayed compared to, well, other scouts. So it's sort of like a haphazard scout, whereas if it had gone for a gateway scout, something like that, it very well could have seen this cheese coming, but here comes the cheese, ready or not for Sharkbot, as it's just checking its third, its fourth, but the cheese is further out, and so there will be no warning that this is really coming. Mulebot produces a couple of Marines, or it produces a Marine, and then gets a tech lab going up on one of the barracks. We've got the factory on the way behind this, so very strange build here by Mulebot. Sharkbot maybe has an inkling that this is coming its way, as it does throw up a battery and a Twilight Council at the front. So the Twilight Council probably not. The battery most likely just for safety, and it very well could be worth its weight in gold. The probes do kill a scouting SCV of Mulebot, the only thing that's died so far in this game, but for now I'm a little concerned here for Sharkbot. It does at least have a sentry producing. It's got that extra gateway on the way, but man, oh man, there's going to be a lot of firepower here from Mulebot. It's getting a tank out. It's going to have multiple Marauders, Marines. So just a very nasty opening. And so far, still no scout from Sharkbot. There's a chance we'll get like a hallucinated Phoenix coming out of this sentry if we see the energy recharge ability used, and there it is instantly. Hallucinated Phoenix gets tossed on out. It's going to the main base of Mulebot, though. There's even a probe still moving around. The scout wasn't ever completed. Might actually just spot this move out. No, not yet. And Sharkbot is going to be panicking here, as this army is only going to be spotted when it shows up on the doorstep. Sharkbot's saying, oh, so well aware it's being cheesed. The Stalkers, however, get very aggressive, run right into the Marauder Marine army. That's not what you want to do in a situation like this. The extra gateway is vulnerable to being unpowered. Looks like Mulebot not prioritizing that pylon, though, killing some probes. The pathing is a little bizarre here, as the units are trying to move forward. They're just shooting the Nexus. This wall is actually kind of working here for Sharkbot. We'll see, though. Zealot pops out. That's going to eat some damage. damage. An attempt at another battery is going up. However, Sharkbot's in a little bit of trouble. That Stalker dies before it can be warped in. The Nexus is eating a lot of damage. The battery can heal up some of these units. Another Stalker pops out on the wrong side of town. Warp Gate is finishing up, though, for Sharkbot. This is a big deal, being able to warp in new Stalkers, but not when you warp them in danger zone. Sharkbot could definitely use a check to see where it's warping in those units and make sure it's a safe location. This Nexus has been taking the brunt of it, so the production, those two gateways at the front, haven't been as effective, but once that Nexus goes down, they will probably be the next target. A Stalker for Sharkbot trying to make a miracle happen, but I do think Mulebot has successfully cheesed and not even sieging the tanks up, funnily enough, which is a little strange, but yeah, Sharkbot's in trouble. We are getting a nice response of 3 batteries on the high ground. Sharkbot just needs to make sure it actually uses them correctly and stays in range of them. That's aggressive stutter stepping earlier was not good, and we see it again as the Stalker just move commands, so that's not great there. Now the Robo's being worked on. This one Stalker can just not kill these things quick enough, and Immortal's being chrono boosted out. The batteries for Sharkbot are actually healing up the Robo, which is immensely important. If that Immortal can get out, it can probably kill a decent amount of these tanks. We're not getting another warp in just yet here for Sharkbot. If there was only 2 or 3 Stalkers here, things would be better. The batteries did not indeed have the juice to heal up those, to heal up the Robo to keep it alive enough. And I believe that's going to be it. Mulebot, of course, has a orbital command and a fusion core on the way behind this cheese. And yeah, just a very successful cheese. A few things clearly went wrong for Sharkbot in that situation. I think the biggest one was probably just warping in the units and letting them die. Like, if those units had just warped in at the back, like off this pylon or something, I think Sharkbot probably holds, because Mulebot wasn't exactly killing the units that whole time. The Stalkers had lots of opportunity. And then, like, there was things I did like from Sharkbot. I liked the extra batteries on the high ground. I liked the little wall. I liked the energy recharge and the scouting, but it just goes to show that that scouting timing was not early enough to detect these, like, very, very early cheeses. So, a bit unfortunate for Sharkbot, as Sharkbot's always a bot you want to cheer for. But yeah, I'll go ahead and load us into the next game. Okay, apparently Mulebot wants to kill the whole family here, or isn't just happy with killing one of Sharknice's bots. It's going for the second one, as we now have the Terran bot MechaShark, programmed by the author of Sharkbot, against Mulebot. And we'll see how this one's going to go, as MechaShark is an interesting bot. It can play late game mech. However, this game, it looks like it will be the one cheesing. We've just got cheese in 3 games, apparently. And these SCVs are definitely suspicious here, as MechaShark, just waiting to get that supply depot done, does go for the first rack. Second one will be on the way soon. That speed mining from these bots does kind of supercharge these barracks proxies. And oh my gosh, look at this. These dirty, dirty bots, man, as Mulebot goes for a proxy once again. Just a single racks from Mulebot. Mulebot, notably, also mining out this gold mineral wall. What it wants to do with that, I'm not sure. I wouldn't put it past the bot author if it wants to build like a starport here at some point to proxy BCs, but Mulebot might be getting beaten to the punch with this one, as 2 racks is always better than 1, particularly when they're all outside on the map. There's literally nothing back at home to defend here for Mulebot. The question is MechaShark going for just Marines? And it looks like it is, as there's no gas. So a proxy 2 racks build. We do get a 3rd racks building as well. Mulebot now going for a factory on the other side of the map. Yeah, this is not looking too good here for the red Terran bot. We'll see if MechaShark can get revenge for its brother, as the first Marine is heading on in. We'll see whether Mulebot reacts to this, maybe by pulling SCVs. Will it just abandon ship like it's done in the past? As a Mule gets dropped, 1 SCV taking some bullets. We do have a Marine just about out here for just about out here for Mulebot, so that'll make 2. And there is potential for a counterattack in a very wonky base race, as MechaShark has nothing back at home to defend either. That's very important to keep in mind in this situation, as Mulebot is now having its main base mining being disrupted. MechaShark pulling some of these Marines back, not just attacking. I'm wondering if it's just trying to pool them there or what. Shooting away at the command center is not the best target, though. These SCVs are getting a chance to do a lot more mining. Mulebot could potentially get out a tank or something in this situation, which would be a very big deal. And now we have Mulebot's Marines crossing the map, so it is going to be a base race. There's definitely more firepower here for MechaShark, but it all depends what you do with it. As these Marines kill an SCV of MechaShark, is MechaShark going to go home and defend? It doesn't look like it. I think I know Mulebot's not going to go home and defend. That's not really in its that's not really something Mulebot ever does. But we do get the command center lifting off for Mulebot. MechaShark going to prioritize that and kill it, though. So that will be the end of production and mining for Mulebot. And basically that means Mulebot needs to win with the stuff it's got. It's got 4 Marines on MechaShark's side of the map. MechaShark is now just killing off the remaining buildings. These SCVs, I do not know where they're going, but they're looking for greener pastures. And the base race is in full effect here. This tank could very well be worth its weight in gold. It's going to depend how this plays out, just because does MechaShark go home? Does it hunt for all the other buildings? The SCVs of Mulebot are actually killing off a few Marines. That's kind of best case scenario for Mulebot. I wouldn't be surprised if Mulebot is a bot that has like an actual base race functionality programmed in to switch these SCVs to be aggressive, because they've actually killed off a fair few Marines here. That's, oh my gosh, 7 dead Marines. They're killing the SCVs too. And now the main base of MechaShark is just about gone. There's even a Liberator hanging around for Mulebot. I'm not sure these SCVs will kill off these racks. In fact, they're all going to go down, but we're going to have a battle. 1 tank, 5 Marines, and a Liberator against 14 Marines for the game, potentially. There is a world in which MechaShark repairs this, goes back to mining, and can produce more stuff, but here we go. As MechaShark is hunting down the last buildings of Mulebot. There is a factory floated, though. This is how much of a scumbag Mulebot is. It is designed for these crazy situations. I jest calling it a scumbag. The author really has embraced chaos here. The buildings start taking damage, then they make a run, a float for it, whatever you want to call, as Mulebot is now trying to kill off the last buildings of MechaShark. Well, I say last buildings, but the main command center was never killed off, so it's a bit odd how Mulebot has changed its mind here. The line of sight blocker is going to potentially cost Mulebot a Marine. Does the tank siege up? That's the big question here. We haven't seen them siege in the previous game. It's not going to siege now. The Liberator is going to die, and I think, oh, the tank sieges way too late for Mulebot, so MechaShark should take this one. The last SCV did actually die for MechaShark somewhere in all the chaos, though, so that does mean we could actually have a draw here. And I think it will be an honest-to-gosh draw, because Mulebot just got the factory floating in the corner, and so it's going to be a tie between these two, which is definitely an interesting situation. Yeah, that last SCV dying somehow. I guess MechaShark just padded it to the front since it still was in proxy mode. Courtesy resigned, GG. Okay, very well managed by Mulebot. I do like how the author does actually have that programmed in. Very, very respectful. Let me know what you guys think about this kind of debauchery in the comments down below. Subscribe if you haven't. If you watched all the way to the end of the video and you enjoy these cheesy, shorter games, yeah, click that like button. If you want to support the channel, consider becoming a YouTube member. There's various perks you can get down below. I'll see you guys next time.